The Palatine Hill served as the neighborhood for the aristocracy in the monarchy, through the Republican times and into the imperial era. Through time, the imprint of the earlier structures faded, and the available space for new structures grew sparse. Towards the end of the 1st century AD, Emperor Domitian revamped the hill in a way that had never been seen before, by expanding the landmass of the hilltop with massive, stretched archways that are visible from Circus Maximus and the Roman Forum. This expansion allowed for Domitian to build an enormous palace, and for the first time to separate the palace into two complexes, public and private. The Domus Augustana, or private sector of the palace, housed the living quarters for the emperor and his family, while the Domus Flavia was reserved for the state chambers. Despite the impressiveness of the brick buildings we see today, in Roman times the entire structure would have been faced with a beautiful monochromatic marble, while all around, the complex enchanting gardens, fountains, and colonnaded courtyards would surprise any new visitor. The rooms throughout the palace were decorated with frescoed walls and mosaic floors by the best artists, and every nook and cranny would have been filled with stunning statuary of deities, heroes, and emperors. Now, when visitors see the extremity of the ruins of Rome, the first question that comes to mind is, what happened? With the dawn of the Renaissance, new constructions around Rome took place, and the need for building materials grew. Architects and patrons of the 15th, 16th, and 17th centuries used the Palatine Hill, the Roman Forum, and the Colosseum as quarries for marble for their new buildings. They swept away the mosaic floors and took them into houses being built for the aristocracy. The statues were relocated to new niches, hallways, and gardens, and the frescoed walls were torn away to decorate other lavish rooms. Much of what was taken from this area can be found within the walls of the Vatican. By the end of the 17th century, visitors and Romans alike could see that the Rome of the Caesars was destroyed to build the Rome of the Popes. One of the first parts of Domitian's palace that you will see is a large rectangular field, surrounded by a pathway that can still be distinguished by the remnants of the bases of columns all around. This is known as the Stadium, but despite its name, the area must have been used more like a garden and training site for riding horses or sport. The only marble facing left in this area rests at the bottom of the two partial columns at the end of the valley. Once again, the niches, walls, and floors would have been decorated with luxurious art, and it is from this area that come most of the sculptures preserved today in the Palatine Museum.